Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about using the AI question generator in iClicker. And what we're going to do is, well, let me find, that's not it. Okay, I am going to open up a new window because I minimized that, but it turns out I've got lots of things minimized. So I'm going to share the screen, bring that over, screen 2, and I am recording, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to sign in after I get some of this stuff out of the way. And I believe my sign in is now saved on this computer. Here we go. I'm going to sign in as an instructor, which you need to do. So sign into your instructor accounts and just play with this. So I'm going to sign in. I've got my email there and I got it all saved. You do have to remember this though when you go into the classroom because, we have to redo and re-authenticate on everything in the classrooms. And what we're going to do now is, once I get this other stuff out of the way, we're going to go over to AI question sets. And I've experimented with this a little bit. Obviously, it's been a while since I've done it. So let's see. So let's create, all you have to do is create a question set. And it uses generative AI to answer them. And it will ask you for the question topic. You could look at this if you want more examples, but it's more fun just to try it. So would you like to try economics or something in stats or something in math? Any preferences?
I like definitely economics, but
Okay, well, we'll start with that. So now you could submit a file to upload the questions you want, but you could just put in a question topic. What topic would you like to put some questions on about?
go with price floor policy.
With what policy?
Price floor.
Okay, so let's say price floors. You want to say end ceilings or just floors?
Yeah, just floors.
Okay, so we'll put in price floors. And then we're going to create. It should ask us the type. Come on. Oh, here we go. Okay, so now it's asking us what types of questions, and you notice it's giving us some choices. How many multiple choice questions? You can generate only 10 at a time. But what shall we do maybe, let's say there's 4, so we could do 2 or 3 of each. Let's do two multiple choice, and I guess you use these things to change it. We'll do 2, and then we'll do 2 numeric, 2 multiple answers, and let's bump up the multiple choice and the short answer by 1, just arbitrarily. And we'll click create. And these are questions you could copy right onto your Google Slides or PowerPoint slides or a doc or whatever you use to share information with students.
Wow, this is interesting.
And so you can vary your questions from year to year, from class to class, and so forth. And price floor leads to a surplus of 200 units. The equilibrium price is 10. How much higher is the price floor than the equilibrium? That's kind of straightforward because it's telling you what the equilibrium is. So that may be a little bit too simplistic, but you could edit it. Can you change the level? I guess you can. Okay, so you could rewrite it before you copy and paste it. But here's something that may be better. Name a real world example of a price floor and its impact on the market. And that's a good question unless you look at the work of Card and Kruger, who find that doesn't necessarily do that. And if you have bilateral monopsony, even that's not entirely possible. But all textbooks would say the second answer is a good one, unless you've looked at pretty much any study done since about 1983, which doesn't find much of an effect on employment, or the effect tends to be trivial. But this is a good question. When is it binding? When is it not binding? And so these would be the free response types of things. And here's a multiple choice question that And again, you could, if you don't like it, you could rephrase it, you could edit it, or you could delete it. So it has to be above the equilibrium price to be binding. And government enforcement is something they may not have seen in the textbook, but it has to be somehow enforced, because otherwise the market will find ways around that, basically. And a minimum price set above the equilibrium price is how we define it. And then potential negative effects. This is pretty good. You've got the surplus of goods, you've got black markets, illegal trades, you've got welfare losses, loss of consumer and producer surplus. And here I would object to that in terms of the terminology. If students had just learned about the quantity demanded versus demand and quantity supplied versus supplied, I'd probably rewrite that to say that it increased quantity supplied and decreased quantity demanded, because we normally think of demand or supply as a whole relationship and a shift in the curve. So I would change that, but a lot of textbooks now are even saying it this way, but it's not how we typically teach it. But you can rewrite it if you don't like it. At least it gave you some ideas or a starting point. Which sector often experiences this? And that agricultural sector would be one of the most common, with agricultural price supports. We certainly don't see much in healthcare. We don't need to worry so much about prices being kept artificially high by price floors, because the medical industry is very good at keeping prices high. They don't need to rely on government restrictions or something similar. And here we get the value of the price floor, which, I'm not even sure what is, the price floor value. So if that's kind of a trivial thing. If it's set at $7, what is the value of the price floor? It would simply be $7. So that's not the great question. But if you don't like them, you could just find some more. And you could ask for higher level questions, I think. Oh, here we go. No. Oh, additional settings. Here we go. So here, if you thought those were too easy, you could perhaps go up to some transferability, applying it in a different circumstance than what they've learned. The question depth, we could put it at introductory or maybe intermediate. And the question level is let's say this is still a lower division class, and let's create another 10 just to see how the questions look if we ramp up the level just a little bit. And again, you could do this dozens of times and just pick the questions you liked. Oh, this looks still pretty similar, doesn't it? In fact, that looks almost identical. Did it add new questions at the end? Oh, it did. So these are the new questions, beginning with 11.
John, can I give you a probability question, bird question?
Sure. Let's go back to probability. Okay. So let's go back. We're going to, we can save and close. Doesn't get the option of just leaving.
Okay. Here's my question, John. Okay, do you want my question, or do you want?
Well, first we have to tell it what types of questions.
So this is about a daily demand, okay?
So this would still be economics?
Economic statistics question. So at a gas station, the daily demand is actually normally distributed with mean 20,000 gallons and standard deviation 3,000 gallons.
That would probably be more of a statistic. So let's see if statistics is there.
Okay.
So let's see. Otherwise, we can go with math, but let's see a statistic. I think there it is. So statistics.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the daily demand at a gas station is actually normally distributed with mean 20,000 gallons.
A mean of 20,000 gallons?
And standard deviation of 3,000 gallons. Okay, how many gallons of gas should the manager keep in the storage tank if he wants to keep actually the probability for shortage less than 0.01?
Okay, so yeah, I'm not sure if this is going to work so well, but let's see. Should
be kept in the storage tank to avoid actually the shortage on a daily basis below 0.01. The probability for shortage below 0.01.
Well, see, this is not going to work quite as well as an AI generated question because it's basically the question itself. So
Mhm.
you'd want to come up with a, you might use part of this saying, suppose that there's some amount, oh, we have to tell it which type again. Let's say we want to create numeric responses for this.
Okay,
So let's go up to 10.
okay,
And let's see what it does.
okay.
Because what you've asked is actually a question rather than a seed for random, AI generated ones. Well, so it's taking the basic concept and it's asking what value is associated with different percentiles. So it's getting at the same thing, but it is in fact creating some variation. Because you're finding the probability of more than a certain amount, or what's the 10th percentile in that distribution, or what's the 85th percentile. What's the probability of observing less than this threshold? So
Yeah,
it's the
I am
same
asking
sort-
for I am asking for the 99th percentile.
Right, but then that's not something that is AI
Oh,
generated.
okay.
So that is a question you could ask. You could ask that question, and that would be a question, but it would not be a set of 10 questions. So what you're really looking at is the ability to determine what the using a standard normal table or probability, what the color values for the z-score are for different values, et cetera. But this is giving you 10 questions that address the same skill, you see? So because what you provided as a prompt is a question, and it looks like it will do pretty well with that. It will take the question you gave it and then generate other equivalent questions or analogous questions.
This is good, John, because I want my students to create some questions like this on their own, so that they can practice them.
They won't have that ability. This is used to generate questions that you would do with them in the class.
Right.
So yeah, so you could do these in the class, but they wouldn't be able to generate those themselves, although they could use AI to do it, ChatGPT or something similar.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so do you want any health questions?
Sure.
Okay, so we'll go back and let's go back. I think we have to go back to, we'll save and close, and then we have to go back.
By the way, John,
yes,
what AI that iClicker is using, is that ChatGPT?
I don't know. I don't think they ever specified that. Most likely it is. That's by far the most commonly used source. But they could tie into the API of ChatGPT or to Claude or to any number of other ones out there. It could be Gemini, could be Copilot, but probably it's ChatGPT. So we're going to now create a new, there we go. So we want to create a new question set. So that would be under, would it be wellness or health? Let's see.
They probably don't have wellness. Probably. I'd be surprised if they have wellness.
Health science,
Health
maybe?
Science, yeah.
Okay, so let's go health science. And what sort of question topic would you like?
Program models and health behavior theory.
Okay, this time I got all this going. Okay, so, and again, you could upload a set of questions. You could upload a past quiz and it would generate things based on that or whatever. What types of questions would you like?
Let's do multiple answer.
Okay. How many?
Let's do.
You want to do all of them or
let's
just?
do 3. And then let's do some multiple choice and then short answer. Yeah.
And 4, maybe?
Yeah.
Oops. Oh no, only 10 at a time. And by the way, the same tools are coming to Brightspace at some point. They were demonstrated to us at CIT last year.
Oh, good. Yeah. These are really good. It's exactly what I was thinking too, because those are the core models that we discussed. Trans theoretical. Yeah.
They look reasonable?
Yeah, they're correct. I've choose the reason action. Yep.
So it's trained on a large database in a lot of disciplines.
Wow, that's really cool. What was the short answer questions?
Was it?
What were the short answer?
Well,
questions?
there was one up here. These two were,
Oh, list one example. Yeah.
and two constructs.
Constructs. Yeah, those are good.
John, a question.
Sure.
Regarding short answer question. So students are going to just type in their answer, right?
Yes.
Then who's going to grade it? AI or no? The instructor.
You have to. You have to, and it will come in a long list, and you could put in certain keywords. So if the keywords are there, we'll grade it automatically. Otherwise, you have to go through the list and click on the ones that are correct.
All right.
So yeah, so that could be a little bit of work. Especially if you're a large class. If you got 20 or 30 students, it's not so bad. And you can actually, even when I have a larger class, I'll go through maybe 20 or 30 of the responses and explain which ones are correct and which ones are not and why. And I'll tell them, I'll grade the rest of them after class, and they'll be posted within an hour or two after class ends. Otherwise, if I don't use it, they get posted immediately after class.
I mean, my question was like, does AI can grade a student?
Not with this app.
Okay.
That basically AI is just being used as a question generator. It's not being used to grade the responses in it, at least not at this point.
And then we probably want to be careful when we think about grading with AI too, because of students.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, although if you submit it, as long as it doesn't have identifying information from the student, but that would be hard to do in order to get it back in that format. So yeah. So everyone, any question? It's not a bad tool. I played with it a little bit, and I've gotten some pretty good responses.
Oh, this sounds really good.
So John, did you say that Brightspace is going to have this feature very soon?
Well, it doesn't yet though, but it will.
Oh, okay.
That they have been experimenting with it, and it will probably be in the next big release of Brightspace. It's been out there for over a year in beta testing. And it basically does the same thing. But the other thing that it will do is it will take the documents you have in your course, if there's text or other things there, and it will generate questions based on those. So if you have PDF files, if you have text files or web pages and so forth, it will generate questions tied to that. Or if you have, it basically will scan it and generate learning objectives or test questions or quiz questions or other types of assessments. So
I have plenty of those on Brightspace right now. So,
and it will you could use it, give it sample quiz questions, and it will generate other variants and so forth. But again, that's when I last saw it. We'll see. We'll see what's finally implemented.
So do we have to get a new version of Brightspace, or
now Brightspace tends to get updated pretty regularly, and new features are rolled out. I have not seen that feature rolled out yet. But again, you don't have to use it. So whenever it's rolled out, it'll be available for use once it's there.
But you don't know the time frame, huh?
I do not. I don't know if campuses are going to have to pay extra for it, in which case it would have to be an adoption decision, because they had that Creator Plus package, which some campuses adopted and some didn't, based on whether they could afford the extra features. We have it, but I know a lot of community colleges don't, because the cost was just prohibitive for them. Okay, any other questions on it? This was a quick demonstration, but it's not bad. To be honest, I've never used it to generate questions, because I put together questions that I've used. It's that I've spent a lot of time working on over the years in my classes, but having some fresh questions in there wouldn't be bad. And this is a good way of at least generating some ideas. And if you don't like them, don't use them, or just edit them so that they are to your liking. Okay, so that feature came out last summer, and it was in the version we had installed last fall. So this is available, but you do it on the account itself on the web, and then you paste any questions into your slide. So it doesn't directly integrate into the app. It's something you do outside of the app for your presentation and just add the questions. Okay, any other questions?
Thank you, John.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. If you have any questions related to iClicker, let me know. You know, I've been using it for a long time, and I work with a lot of faculty on it every semester. So,
That's good.
okay, thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.